What's up, y'all? In this video I'm doing a basic guide on the Tiger tank. Now I wanted to do this video because it's a very popular tank. Anyone going through the German tree usually gets this tank, and you see them all the time in battles at the 5.7 battle rating, and sometimes below and a little bit above. And I've seen some people do some less than optimal things with this tank, so I figured I'd just make a quick guide and get it out there. So let's get into it. Now, first thing, one of the great things about this tank is the strong frontal armor of the tank. The front is 102 millimeters thick, and the sides and rear are 82 millimeters. Now, the lower plate is angled, so you get around 120. The upper plate is flat 90 degrees, so you get a little over 100 millimeters. In the front of the gun mantle, it ranges from a low of 90 to highs of almost 300 on some parts. The side of the turret and the hull are 82, and the rear of the turret and hull are the same. Now, one sort of weak point of the armor on this tank is between this top part of the hull and the tracks, there's a zone that's only 62 millimeters thick. Normally won't be hit, but if someone is close and they're lower than you, they can shoot this, and almost any gun that you would come up against can go through that little zone of armor there. Now, probably the best feature of the tank is the gun. The 88 millimeter cannon. It's got 125 millimeters of penetration at 100 meters, 115 at 500, and 105 at 1,000. Now, currently, the Tiger only has one unlockable ammo type, heat, which has 103 millimeters of penetration across the board, and it comes with HE ammo as well that only has 16 millimeters and is almost completely useless. I keep one or two HE rounds for the occasional anti-aircraft vehicle. And the heat ammo could potentially be useful if you're shooting at extreme ranges, but the poor muzzle velocity means that its accuracy is pretty crap at range. For the most part, you're going to be sticking with the standard armor-piercing rounds. Now, the mobility of the tank isn't as bad as you would think. It's got a top speed of 45 kilometers per hour and a reverse speed of about 8 kilometers per hour. The acceleration is the bad thing about the tank. It takes around 15 to 20 seconds to get up to top speed, and it takes a couple seconds to get to top speed in reverse. The hull traverse is slower than most tanks, but not as bad as you would think. It's definitely slower than a medium tank, but not nearly as pitiful as the traverse speed on some of the KV series and the Shermans. And the turret rotation is slow. There's no way around it. It's 7.5 degrees, half of what you're used to on some of the Panzer IVs and Panzer IIIs. Not nearly as bad as the atrocious rotation speed on the KV2 and Panther D. So, how do you want to play this tank? Generally speaking, you'll have the most success playing this as a long-range supporting fire tank. Now, the good armor on the tank, especially the front, means you can play it aggressively. However, if we look in the X-ray view, you'll see the sides of this tank are just straight up ammo. Anything getting around you, especially at close range, can punch right through that armor And if they shoot anywhere in the side except for the very front and rear, they're probably going to hit ammo and kill you instantly. So the safest way to play the tank, and what I think the best way as well, is to keep yourself at range, find a good spot where you can support your team, give them covering fire, and use the tank that way. Your strong frontal armor means that most people shooting you at range, 85mm Russian guns and the 75mm US guns, can't reliably get through your armor from the front. The 76mm US guns can, but if you angle your tank properly, it's not too much of an issue. Your gun has a pretty good muzzle velocity and good penetration, so you can reliably kill people probably up to almost 2 kilometers if you can hit them. But anywhere inside of 1,000 meters, you're probably going to be able to kill most things. The only tanks that'll really give you trouble are other Tigers, IS-1s, and the occasional Panther you see rolling about. I will say though, a tank that currently gives you trouble, that might not in the future, are some of the US Shermans. I'm not sure if their armor will be changed in the future, but currently they have close to 100mm of frontal armor, especially on the upper plate right now. Well, that about wraps it up for my guide in the Tiger. You know, the basic thing I want people to take away from this is that this is a great tank for shooting at range and supporting your team with. Although you can play it aggressively, I don't really recommend it, because if someone does get around you, it's pretty much game over. Well, if you like the video or feel I left something out, feel free to leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel if you want to keep updated when videos come out. I've been trying to make the time to get them out on a more regular basis, and hopefully I'll be able to do that in the future. And I'll see y'all next time.